What really happened in that emotional moment between Jungkook and Taeyong that left millions speechless across continents? Why did international media suddenly erupt with headlines dissecting every glance, every breath, every trembling word? And how could one honest confession from Jungkook send shockwaves through the global army, leaving fans stunned, divided, hopeful, and deeply reflective all at once? Before you read further, ask yourself, are you ready to confront the truth behind the tears, the silence, and the unspoken bond that has defined BTS for over a decade? Stay with us until the end, because what unfolded was more than a fleeting viral clip. It was a revelation that may reshape how the world sees BTS forever. If this story moves you, don't stay silent. Share your thoughts, join the conversation, and let your voice be heard. International media outlets from Asia to North America began amplifying the story within hours. Television panels replayed the footage repeatedly. Entertainment analysts dissected body language frame by frame. Social media timelines were flooded with slowed-down clips, translations, interpretations, and emotional reactions. The reason was simple yet profound. Jungkook's candid acknowledgement of his inner struggles and his emotional exchange with Taeyong pierced through the polished image that global superstars are often expected to maintain. In an industry built on perfection, composure, and carefully curated narratives, vulnerability can feel revolutionary. The moment itself appeared deceptively quiet at first. The stage lighting softened. The atmosphere shifted from celebratory to contemplative. Jungkook, often known as the golden magne of BTS, stood with a vulnerability rarely seen in public appearances. His voice wavered slightly as he spoke, not with scripted precision, but with raw sincerity. Taeyong, standing close by, listened with a gaze that conveyed empathy and something deeper. The kind of unspoken understanding that only years of shared triumphs and hardships can create. Cameras captured the subtle tightening of Taeyong's jaw, the glistening in Jungkook's eyes, and the silence that enveloped the audience. It was not dramatic in the conventional sense. It was intimate, and that intimacy was precisely what made it seismic. When Jungkook openly reflected on the pressure he had felt, the weight of expectations, the fear of disappointing fans, the anxiety of living up to an almost mythic reputation, the crowd grew still. His words were not accusatory. They were not defensive. They were confessional. He acknowledged moments of doubt, nights of uncertainty, and the internal battle between personal growth and public persona. For many fans, this was not entirely surprising. BTS has long been associated with themes of mental health, self-acceptance, and emotional transparency. Yet hearing it articulated so directly, so personally, struck differently. Taeyong's response was equally powerful, though far less verbal. His visible emotion, his supportive presence, and the subtle gesture of reassurance created a visual narrative that resonated across cultures. International commentators noted that this exchange encapsulated the essence of BTS: unity, authenticity, and brotherhood forged under extraordinary circumstances. The clip spread rapidly, trending across multiple countries within hours. Headlines ranged from reflective admiration to dramatic speculation, questioning what Jungkook's admission might mean for the future of BTS. The shock among ARMY was palpable. Online forums and fan communities oscillated between concern and pride. Some expressed fear, wondering whether Jungkook's confession hinted at deeper struggles or potential changes ahead. Others felt a renewed respect for his honesty, interpreting the moment as evidence of emotional maturity and trust. The emotional spectrum was vast, yet one thing remained consistent. The depth of connection fans feel with BTS had been reinforced rather than diminished. International media often frames K-pop through the lens of spectacle, focusing on choreography precision, record-breaking achievements, and commercial milestones. However, this time the narrative centered on humanity. Commentators emphasized how rare it is for artists at the peak of global fame to display such unfiltered vulnerability. The cultural significance of this cannot be overstated. In many societies, particularly within the high-pressure entertainment industry, admitting personal struggle can be perceived as weakness. Jungkook's willingness to do so, publicly and without theatrics, challenged that notion. Speculation inevitably followed. Analysts debated whether his confession signaled an upcoming shift in BTS's artistic direction. Some suggested that future projects might lean even further into introspection and personal storytelling. Others questioned whether this transparency reflected a transitional phase in the group's journey. Yet amid the speculation, a more grounded interpretation emerged. Perhaps nothing drastic had changed at all. Perhaps this was simply another chapter in a narrative BTS has been writing since their debut. One that embraces growth, honesty, and the complexity of youth evolving into adulthood under a global spotlight. The emotional weight of the moment also reignited conversations about the pressures faced by idols. Training systems, relentless schedules, and the constant scrutiny of global audiences create an environment few can truly comprehend. Jungkook entered the industry at an exceptionally young age, maturing before millions of eyes. His confession subtly reminded the world that behind the polished performances stands a human being navigating expectations that would overwhelm most adults. Taeyong's visible reaction amplified this reminder. His expression conveyed solidarity, perhaps even shared memory. Their bond has long been a subject of admiration within the fandom. Yet seeing that bond manifest in such a vulnerable context transformed admiration into something more profound. It was not simply about friendship. It was about mutual survival in an industry that demands resilience at every turn. The ripple effects extended beyond fan circles. Cultural commentators discussed how moments like this challenge stereotypes surrounding K-pop idols as manufactured or emotionally distant. Instead, the narrative shifted toward authenticity. Jungkook's words were not part of a promotional strategy. They did not coincide with a product launch or a choreographed storyline. They emerged organically, and that spontaneity made them powerful. ARMY's reaction, though initially marked by shock, gradually evolved into collective reflection. Fans began sharing their own stories of pressure, self-doubt, and the courage it takes to admit vulnerability. Social media transformed into a space of mutual reassurance. In this sense, Jungkook's confession transcended celebrity news. It became a catalyst for dialogue about mental health and emotional honesty. International broadcasters replayed the clip with subtitles, emphasizing key phrases that resonated universally. Words about fear, gratitude, and growth transcended language barriers. The global nature of BTS's audience meant that this moment unfolded simultaneously across time zones, uniting viewers in a shared emotional experience. Few artists possess that level of cross-cultural impact. The question remains, did Jungkook anticipate the magnitude of the reaction? It is impossible to know. What is clear, however, is that his authenticity reaffirmed the foundation upon which BTS's legacy rests. Their music has consistently addressed themes of identity, self-love, and perseverance. This moment embodied those themes not through melody or choreography, but through lived experience. Some critics attempted to downplay the significance, labeling it as routine emotional expression common in the entertainment world. Yet such dismissals overlooked the context. BTS is not merely a musical act. It is a global phenomenon with a fanbase spanning generations and continents. Every word spoken by its members carries amplified weight. When vulnerability surfaces within that framework, its resonance multiplies exponentially. As days passed, think pieces continued to analyze potential long-term implications. Would this mark a turning point in public perception? Would Jungkook's openness encourage other idols to speak more freely about their struggles? While definitive answers remain elusive, the cultural conversation sparked by this moment is undeniable. Perhaps the most striking element is how the emotional exchange strengthened rather than fractured the group's image. Far from signaling instability, it highlighted resilience. BTS has always emphasized unity. Witnessing that unity in a raw, unscripted context reinforced fans' trust. Ultimately, the impact of Jungkook's confession lies not in sensational speculation, but in its humanity.